It is my distinct privilege to welcome the most known face out of India in the 21st century, the man who transformed the software industry in India, Mr. Narayana Murthy. He is a recipient of Padma Vibhushan from India, CBE of UK and from France. It's truly an honor, Mr. Murthy, to welcome you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
When somebody sits next to you, there are so many that one needs to ask. I want to start with, what is the most inspiring thing that you can leave behind for many of the other youngsters who are going to follow in your footsteps? You have been this founding CEO, the chairman, and now the chairman emeritus. You have done amazing things, transforming many things India, not just in India but outside. What is that one legacy, if I may ask you, that people would want to follow you?
You know, I've always said in answer to this question that I would like to be known as a fair person, somebody who looked at data, who looked at facts and came to conclusion, somebody who put himself in the other person's shoes in arriving at a decision. That's one. Second, I would say courage to seek truth. If our youngsters can be encouraged to be fair and to be courageous to seek truth, I think our country will be a great place.
You know, as India is emerging as a power in the world, there's so much consumerism that's taking place in India, and youngsters who want to be entrepreneurs are driven mostly by money. And when you look at people of your stature and other Indians who have done so well entrepreneurially in Silicon Valley and other parts of the world, they tell me that they've always been driven with the value they are creating for society, not about money. So it's an important lesson to be learned for the youngsters. I just wanted your take on this as an entrepreneur.
Well, you know, it's understandable that people, when they're 20s and 30s, particularly those who haven't had much access to wealth, be enamored by wealth. But what is important is when they reach their 40, when they reach their 50, I think they will have to have a certain concern for the society. They will have to be ready to part with a part of their wealth so that the world can become a better place, the country can become a better place. So while as youngsters I can understand that, but at the same time, because they are watching elderly people around them who are involved in philanthropy, who are involved in making a difference to the society, hopefully even that exuberance that they demonstrate as youngsters will be moderated.
As an entrepreneur, the lessons that you have learned in building such huge company like Infosys, the fundamentals haven't changed, but people still want to aim and try to build an Infosys. What are your thoughts on this and the wisdom you want to impart?
Well, you know, I've always believed, and I continue to believe, that the only instrument we have to solve the problem of poverty is creation of jobs. Creation of jobs with good disposable income, and that's possible only through entrepreneurship. Therefore, I think all countries that intend to remove poverty must focus on encouraging entrepreneurs. And I have seen that India has started doing it since the liberalization, since 1991, but I think we need to do more of that.
You know, since the days you started and reaching out to the world, Indians and the brand India is not just recognized but welcome. You don't have to prove your model or your products to them anymore, I think, in many parts of the world. For India to continue its success in the 21st century, what are the things you think India should keep in mind as it progresses?
We have to benchmark ourselves on a global basis, because as Dean Nitin Noria pointed out, what seems to be your competitive advantage today may be taken over by some other nation tomorrow. So one is being very vigilant about benchmarking with global standards of quality, of productivity, customer satisfaction, innovation, etc., etc. Second, we have to have a mindset of openness to new ideas. We have to have a sense of pluralism. We have to revere meritocracy. We have to look at speed. We have to do things faster today compared to yesterday. We have to, of course, innovation I have already talked about, and we have to focus on improving the level of excellence of execution of our ideas. And finally, we must be humble. We must be willing to learn from others, and we must respect people who have done better than us.
With your success, and I take the example of your brother-in-law Desh, you're great examples because in the face of such insurmountable success, both ways, you exhibit such utter humility. And people always ask this, well, he could have afforded anything he wanted in the world, from yachts to planes to islands, but he chose to be a humble man, and that inspires a lot more people. Personally for you, what did success mean, or what does it mean now?
Well, you know, I have always said success to me is the ability to bring a smile onto the face of people when you enter a room. For that, you don't need much money. You don't need much power. You don't need to be the most handsome person. What you need is the ability to put the other person at ease, the ability to create harmony and goodwill with the other person, the ability to create confidence and trust in the other person. And if we can do that, then we are all successful.
Finally, this is an IIT question. I'm sure a lot of IITians will be very happy to hear from you. If you can reflect back in the days of your time at IIT, an anecdote that you remember, a teacher that you remember that really changed so much, some anecdote that you could share with us so people can take it.
Well, you know, we had a wonderful time there. I remember Mahesh Yogi had come to IIT Kanpur. He had become very famous because Beatles had accepted him, and therefore we were all excited. He came to the lecture hall complex. He gave a talk on transcendental meditation, and he said, look, I'm going to initiate a few students from one hall tomorrow morning. And he said, I will choose that hall randomly, and a lottery was drawn, and hall 5 from where I was chosen. And you know, on Friday evenings, we would play cards, and generally we would sleep by about 2 o'clock or so, and next morning we would get up slightly late and go for excellent breakfast. So that night we said, look, why don't we all sleep? Why don't we all play cards up to 5 o'clock, because Mahesh Yogi is coming at 5 a.m. So we played cards up to 5 a.m. and we all trooped into the TV room, common room. And then Mahesh Yogi came, and we were all sitting, and then he called each one of us to himself, and he asked me, who is your favorite god? I said, I don't play favorites with God. He said, no, don't be arrogant. Say it. He said, take Ram. So he said, keep on saying Ram, Ram, Ram. I said, okay. So we were all asked to start praying silently, and after about 15 minutes, he asked us to get up, to wake up. We did. And he asked somebody, how did you feel? He said, oh, I felt extraordinary, I was relieved, and this and that. So I must have been looking rather sleepy. He asked me, what happened to you? I said, Maharshi, I slept off. He said, oh, you're the only guy who has learned transcendental meditation here. The reality, he didn't know that I had not slept the whole night, and I was so sleepy. And then he said, you must come for the advanced course to Rishikesh. So all my friends were making fun of me. So it was wonderful.
It's been such a pleasure, and it's a great honor again. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.